I have a question. Okay, so I've seen chefs design these really cool menus as restaurants open or even as the seasons change. How much communication, or is there even any, I just don't know, between Dana, someone like you, and the chef in deciding like what's going to be available, how available, how fresh, all of that?
I think as we move into spring, even though it's still January, chefs are thinking about what they're going to put on their spring menus now. For example, I'm working with 11 Madison, and they're looking for the baby Brussels sprouts, but they need them to be like small enough that they can like put 7 on a plate. It's difficult. It's very difficult, especially when you don't have control over what is being grown. But we do our best.
I think it depends on the chef.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you're last minute, I'm like, hey, Dana, tomorrow.
Yeah, but we usually have it. We import direct, so we have all of the direct source, and then we're small enough that we can tend to the chef themselves and get exactly what they need, and they only need like a little bit of it.
As far as like the trends go, though, the spring, like you see chefs coming to you, Dana, and Chef, you as well, saying, okay, I'm thinking Brussels sprouts, and you start to think about Dana stocking that, and what your like projections are going to be, and how the shelf life, which I'll imagine is.
Yeah, I know for me, sometimes I'll text her and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, what's coming up? I kind of base my menu off of that. Usually I just write down everything she tells me, and I just kind of pull pieces together, and that's going to be the dish. All this perishable stuff that changes constantly, and you're supposed to deliver a consistent product to the guest every single time. That's what's tricky.
The cool thing about eating with the seasons, though, is that everyone's on the same page. Most dishes are going to have asparagus in the springtime or English peas. We'll kind of gauge how much they're going through first. Like that's one of the initial questions to make sure that we're not buying too much, or like it just needs to make sense. We're small enough where we can source, but we want the quality. That's really important for us to be there.
Thinking about the supply chain and importing produce and goods outside the U.S., I think we're all reading about the tariffs that may or may not be coming. I guess for you, Dan, I'm curious how you're preparing for it.
I was asked the question yesterday if we're carrying California whole garlic. Usually garlic comes from China. Yeah, people are aware of it, I think, but if they ever wanted it, we can also bring it in. It's really, we're carrying what our customers want to see. That's how we stay, true to ourselves. We're never going to say no. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is the relationship between us.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately right now, that's just the name of the game. Everything seems to be going up. The relationship, like she mentioned, is very important. Like I know I've been getting hit with congestion pricing fee now. I think we just have to pass that along and figure it out how we can make it work.
What's the impact of AI that you're seeing right now in your businesses from both sides?
Personally, I'm using AI to cultivate more sales, like more awareness of the company. On the internal aspect, it's adopting new ways to efficiently operate the warehouse, like the shelf life of everything. The fresh cut is, we have a whole, probably the size of this space, part of our warehouse dedicated to slicing, dicing, manufacturing quality produce.
Yeah, I know for me, I've been using it, ChatGPT, for research pretty much. Like I'm not French. I run a French restaurant. There's a lot of things that I know just through like learning and reading. I think if you're not using these tools, you're just behind.